Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that I guess if you listen to the entire near 3 hour interview or just listen to bits and pieces of it that Ian Flynn did about a week ago with with Sega bits, you may say to you, one of the things you may notice, not say to yourself, but you may notice, is that one of the questions he got answered was about the well was basically one of the questions he was asked and he answered was about the whole Sonic pairing deal, the whole shipping deal. Now, I guess in a way, Ian kind of acknowledged, look, I'm getting basically, from what I understand, Ian kind of said, look, I'm sick and tired of all this pairing and shipping kind of deal. Maybe I'm wrong. But basically, one of the things that stood out in that interview was he said, if Sonic is going to be single because Sega mandates it. Basically, he stated to, I guess, get people off his back, Sonic can't be with Amy, Sonic can't be with Sally, Sonic can't be with any female because Sega mandates he be single, if you know what I mean. Now, one thing that did catch my eye, though, was he said, if a romance does happen in the comic, just let it be. So basically what he's saying is that even though from Sega's mandates, Sonic has to be single, doesn't mean he can't have a romance. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that romance has to last forever, and it doesn't mean he can't have a love interest. He just can't be tied down to anybody. He can't be boyfriend, girlfriend kind of deal. Kind of like with Mickey and Minnie in Disney. It's like, we all know Mickey and Minnie are boyfriend, girlfriend. Just like Donald and Daisy, just like Bugs and Lola. But the thing is with Sonic, it's different. It's like, yeah, Sonic can be paired with Sally, but he can't be tied down to Sally. It's like all the merchandise that gets sold can't, have Sonic and Sally on it if it's like girl T-shirts or women's T-shirts or men's stuff. Or I know that kind of sounds a little crazy, but you get what I'm saying. Kind of kind of like those Valentine Day cup holders or heart cup holders. It's like you can't have Sonic on there with Sally or Sonic on there with Amy or something like that. That's basically Sega's mandates. It's like, yeah, you can let him have a romance in the comics, but it can't be long. It can't be a long romance. In other words, he can't be tied down to this person because he's got to be single. And, to me, I understand the whole mandate deal. I understand the whole mandate deal. And I think when some fans hear that, and again, if you want to listen to it, just look up Sega Bits Ian Flynn interview here on YouTube and you'll find it. But basically, to me, it's like when he states that Sega says, look, Sonic's got to be single no matter what. Hey, I get that. I understand that. As much as, some people may hate to hear that, I understand that. I mean, you got to look at it from their perspective, from the gaming perspective. Sonic's always going on a worldwide adventure. He's always running around looking for the next adventure around the corner. So basically he doesn't have time for romance. He doesn't have time to be tied down by a love interest. So to basically say it's Sega's mandate, it's true. But again, the one thing that will catch people is when he says if a romance happens in the book, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard he said if a romance does happen, let it be, let it go. So basically what he's saying is that, yeah, if Sonic, let's say a character like Sonic in the comic for a temporary period gets hooked up with Sally, not permanently, but temporarily, as we have seen throughout the comic book's history, then let it be. Let the romance happen. Don't judge it. Like the whole Con Sally deal. Even though that was for the Iron Dominion arc, and some people did like it because Well, I think he should have acknowledged. I don't know if he did. The only reason people liked it, in my opinion only, is because it opened the door for the Sonic Amy relationship to become a reality, which it didn't. Unfortunately for the Sonic Amy supporters. But again, that's just my opinion. The thing is, we all knew it was just for that issue. We all knew that. Well, not for that issue, just for that arc. We all knew that. And whether we liked it or not, I think that's what Ken was trying to say. Like, hey, if a romance occurs, let it happen. Don't get bugged by it. Don't say, oh, I'm going to stop reading the comic, or this is stupid. Let it be. Let it go with the flow. Kind of like with the Sonic Sally deal. When he brought them back together, or was teasing towards their coming back together, the reuniting, if you will. It's like what he was saying was, hey, if Sonic and Sally in the comic for a short period, temporary period, get together in a romantic kind of interlude, let it be. Don't get mad about it. Let it go. It's not going to be for the rest. It's not going to be for the rest of the comic. It's just a temporary deal. It's kind of like, some people, one of the things that some people are suggesting at some of the forums, and I could be wrong about this, some people are suggesting to get another romantic pairing into the comic. I'm not lying about this, folks. At one of the forums, somebody, I don't know who it was, suggested to try to get some kind of petition or something going to get the pairing, get load of this, the pairing of Tails and Nicole into the comic. I'm not lying there, folks. I'm not lying. I mean, if I'm seeing things, I was seeing things. If I'm not, then I'm not. But the truth is, I know I saw something like that at one of the forums. Now, you might ask yourself, well, why would they want that? Why would they want that if Sonic can't have a girlfriend? Well, because you see, I guess in the eyes of some fans, if you pair Tails up with, say, Nicole or even Amy, perhaps down the line or something, it's kind of more like the answer to Sonic and Sally not being together, or Sonic and Amy not being together. Here you have the sidekick. Here you have Tails himself actually getting into a relationship. But again, that's just from what I've seen. But getting back to what I was talking about, the thing is, with Sonic, it's more along the lines of, with Sonic, it's more along the lines of the fact that, a lot of people feel, and I'm pretty sure Ian feels the same way, that Sega needs to, even some people that listen to what I had to say about it in my Sonic things to get off my chest, and even my recap of the interview, basically, what they have said is, Sega needs to, hopefully someday, needs to loosen up on the mandates. They need to loosen up and say, okay, look, there is a difference between our games and the shows and the comics that are inspired by them. And that hopefully by noticing that, they can be like, okay, because the comics and the shows are different, they can do a little bit more with our characters than we can do in the games. Excuse me. But, that's what some people have said. And hopefully that day will come in the eyes of some fans, that Sega will let loose and say, you know what, we get it. We understand where you're coming from. But, right now, coming from and everything, so, okay, go ahead and do what you have to do. It's kind of like what I said in my Sonic things to get off my chest, and I apologize to anybody that listened, for me getting a little out of control there. But when I quoted, hey, when I said that if I was Ian Flynn or somebody like him, and I was looking at Sega and said, look, we have to do this. Either you let us do it or shove it. Basically, what I was saying is, Ian Flynn, Victor. What I should have said is that Ian Flynn and Victor Golick and Mike Puritho and whoever else is in charge should sit down with the representatives that are there for Sega and say, look, we understand you guys got mandates. We understand you guys have to have certain things certain ways. But you need to let us, and it's just a thing, you need to let us expand on certain things. Things are different in the comic than they are in the games. And one of those things that people would like to see him expand on is, believe it or not, romance. I know some people don't like romance in comic books. I get that. The more about the action, the more about the adventure, the more about the comedy and stuff like that. I get it. I get that, and I'm sure everybody else does. But the thing is, romance does help a comic a lot. And to me, for Sonic, for the Sonic comic book, a little bit of romance does help. And that's what I think Ian Flynn was talking about when he said, if a romance happens, let it go. Because even though I'm pretty sure Ian would like to create a steady relationship between Sonic and whatever female he hooks him up with, as much as he would like to create a steady relationship with Sonic and that certain female, right now he can't do that, and that's why he's saying, and that's why I believe when you listen to the interview, that's why he goes back and says, look, if a romance happens, let it happen. There's not much you can do about it. You may not like, and basically what he's saying is, hey, you may not like, Sonic being paired up with Sally, or you may not like Sonic being paired up with Amy and vice versa. You may not like that, but you gotta let it be. You gotta let it be, and you got to just let it go. Because basically, I think what he's trying to say in the interview is, if a romance happens, it's not permanent. It's not a permanent deal. Just let it go. And again, that's kind of like goes back to what I mentioned earlier about Tails. There's some people that want to see Tails get hooked up with somebody. Yeah, he's technically 12, 13 years old, whatever you want to call it. But people want to see him have somebody in his life, a female counterpart. And if he can have someone like Nicole, as crazy as that sounds, or Mina, or Amy, or whoever, then so be it. So be it. Let him have somebody. Let him have somebody. Let him have somebody that understands where he's coming from. So I think that would be, so I think that is why people, at one of the forums started this or asked this question. They think it could work. Now, the reason, again, I say that is because they feel that if Sonic can't be with somebody on a steady basis, because I think this is their way of saying, look, if Sonic can't be with Sally or Amy or whoever, then next best thing is get Tails to have somebody. And if Tails can have somebody, then so be it. But again, I getting back to what I mentioned at the beginning. I can understand, as much as I hate to say it, and as much as everybody else hates to hear it, I can understand the mandate from Sega, even though I think it's a dumb one. Sometimes I can understand it. I mean, because literally, you have a character I do like in Amy Rose. You have her in the games basically crushing on Sonic. You have Sonic X showing hints of them being together. Sonic X, which was created by Sega itself. So the thing is, what's so different? What's such a big deal about it? If you could do that, then why not loosen up and let Sonic have somebody, pair Sonic up with somebody. I'm sorry. Blech. Or pair Sonics up with somebody in the comics. And basically probably send out a note or something like that and say, look, Sonic's paired up. Just because Sonic is paired up with this girl doesn't mean it's canon in the games. Kind of finally acknowledge the differences. Like the comics are a different continuity, the games are a different continuity. So, to me, I think, I think that's what needs to be done. They need to essentially do something to, at least acknowledge that there's a difference in the continuity, and if that means down the line pairing Sonic up with a female counterpart as a GF, if you will, as a girlfriend or a love interest, then so be it. So be it. I mean, heck, when Blaze made her debut in Sonic Rush, you know how many people started pairing her up in fan fiction and fan art with Sonic instead of Silver? A lot, because there were similarities. And basically they said, you know what, they could play off each. And basically by pairing them up in their fan fictions, in their fan art, they're basically saying, hey, they got similarities. They can play off each other. And in addition, she is an official Sega character, and she's a princess. So in a way, Sonic fans who looked at Blaze when she debuted, they said, you know what? Let's say, for example, these fans were fans of Sonic and Sally's pairing. They're like, well, if Sonic can't be with Sally in the comics at times or even in the games, Blaze is the next best thing. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Again, though, getting back to what I said, as much as I hate to say it, I do respect and understand the mandate. I understand that from a merchandising perspective, marketing perspective, they don't want to have to go out and have to. Excuse me for a second. And yes, I'm not going to edit this part. I told you I wasn't going to edit that part because it didn't take too long. But like I said, yes, from a marketing standpoint and everything, you have to probably understand where they're coming from because, like I mentioned at the beginning, they don't want to have to do what Disney and Warner Brothers does with their marketing stuff. They don't want to have to go out and create and market heart-shaped cups or heart-shaped T-shirts or whatever, or perfumes or toothbrush holders and stuff like that, with Sonic and a female counterpart, looking into each other's eyes or holding each other's hands and blah 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 blah. I get that because, like I said, to them, Sonic is an adventurous teenager still. He's still somebody that wants to explore opportunity. He still wants to go out and have fun. He still wants to go out and see what the world has to offer. And again, I understand that. And I'm sure a lot of you out there would understand that too, as much as you don't want to. But to me, as ridiculous as the main mandate sounds, we have to accept it right now. Again, like some of the people have said, hopefully someday Sega will loosen up on their mandates and restrictions and let things be. Because, it goes back not just to Sonic being single, it goes also back to what I said in the Sonic Things to Get Off My Chest video or audio video. You have a potential, and a lot of people agree with this, you have potential to allow what many consider to be one of the better head writers for the comic book in a long time, Ian Flynn. You have an opportunity to allow him, maybe Tracy Yarlin, to basically expand your characters, to expand Amy Rose, to expand Tails, to expand Big, to expand Cream and Vanilla. Heck, even Shadow and Rouge, if you will. But yet you don't let them do that. You don't let them do that because of your restrictions. It's like, yeah, you can do a little bit with them, but you can't do much. You know, and again, this hopefully goes, and again, this is what a lot of fans are hoping for, that someday Sega lets loose and says, okay, fine, we get it. Or at least somebody from Sega gets an understanding of, okay, I understand now. The comic books, SatAM, Adventures, Sonic X deal. Well, maybe not Sonic X, but you get it. Get what I'm saying? The SatAM, Adventures, Underground, comic book continuities are different from the game. Aims and even Sonic X. That, hopefully that will occur, but we're not really sure yet. And again, this all goes back to the fact that Sega has these mandates. As much as we don't like certain mandates, like either it prevents characters from being further developed in the comics, or prevents characters from having love interest, if you will, and romances, or steady romances, if you will, then I don't know what. But again, before I go, the thing that caught my eye, like I said, was the fact, if you will, that he said, and I literally mean this, he said that because Sega mandates Sonic can't be with Amy and Sally, doesn't mean you can't have romance in the book. So that's the one thing you got to pay attention to. Like I mentioned at the beginning, and I know I'm repeating myself here. It's like you said, just because of those mandates doesn't mean you can't have romance. Doesn't mean for a short time you can't have Sonic with Sally, or if it's possible down the line, and I know a lot of fans are hoping for this, Sonic and Amy. It doesn't mean that can happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a permanent deal, and I think that's what he's trying to get across. So if a romance does occur, I guess, and it's Sonic and Sally again, basically in his mind, hey, let it go. Don't get mad about it. But that's all I'm going to say. Comment down below. Tell me what you think, and I'm out.